Hello, welcome to actual play Deathmatch Island Phase 2. I'm Sean, I use him pronouns. I am very excited to play more of Calvin Judge Summers, who uses he, they pronouns. I didn't really know too much about who Calvin was last time, like all contestants that rolled up randomly, and I'm figuring that out more and more. Thanks to Tim for making these amazing videos that have are portrayed by characters, helping solidify that for me. So I'm super excited to play tonight. How about you, Mendez? What's up?
What's good? I'm James Mendez Hodes. I use he, him pronouns. I'm on the internet at jamesmendezhodes.com. I'm playing as Diana Gandhi Dankworth, who is a. She has a lot going on. Recent divorcee, uh, works for a private military company, and had a very different understanding of what this show was going to be before she came on it.
Yeah, I loved the confusion.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Karen?
Hello, my name is Karen Twelves. I'm at K12s on the social medias. I am very excited to see what shenanigans we're going to get up to. We have a car now,
Ooh.
which
We do have a
seems
car.
like we shouldn't.
Seems like trouble.
I mean, we got it from
Yeah.
a restricted place, so yeah, we probably
Yep.
shouldn't.
I mean, should we be trusted with this car? No. Should anybody else on this island be trusted with this car?
Absolutely
Especially
not.
no.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Good point.
anybody had to have it, it still probably shouldn't be us. I don't think it's in good hands.
Well, I agree. I am Tim today. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Old Dog Games. And tonight we are playing Deathmatch Island, a game under playtesting that I wrote. It is a Paragon game, so it uses the same rule set from Agon by John Harper and Sean Nidner. And so just to recap, maybe if you bring up the map there, Sean, we can.
Absolutely. There you go.
So last session we began on Island 1. We'll reintroduce ourselves to the main characters in a moment, but just to recap what happened, we landed at the fishing village. There we met two different factions. One was this alliance led by Officer Abthorpe, and he wanted to find out what was going on here and kind of shut it down. And he was putting together an alliance to that purpose. Opposing him was a much smaller alliance led by Quincy there, and she just wants to get home to her family, and she has an alliance of similar-minded folks who just want to get through this thing. And the players sided with Quincy, and they basically snuck out of there with them. They headed up to the Whitewater Challenge, which was a challenge site where they had to cross a raging river. That went very poorly.
Everything went pretty poorly.
I got punched
Yeah.
in the head.
Oh,
there were punches, there was some foul play, but they survived. And it turned out the opposing team was under direction from Abthorpe. They made their way up the hill to the Sanctuary, which was this big housing development. And there they saw that Abthorpe's alliance was continuing to grow, so they successfully slowed that down, and they recruited some of those neutral competitors to their alliance. So that was a success. Then from there, they moved up to the Blinking Light, which had big, do not enter signs, but they went there anyway. And that went very well. I think everyone succeeded on that one. They got in. They saw some weird stuff, and they followed the tunnel to a garage, and they got a car and some restricted items. And then as they were driving out of this garage on the side of the hill, the klaxon went off, and that signaled the start of phase 2, which is where the battle royale kicks in. And by the end of phase 2, only half the remaining competitors can survive. Basically, once only half are left, phase 2 is over, and we will progress to the next island.
mm-hmm.
So I think that did I miss anything there? I think that covers it.
I think we discovered the plans for the phases in some documents in this bunker that they said it would go from 100 to half to I think 6, and then to 1 at the end. Like I think we got that.
That's right. You got the run sheet.
Yeah, we got the run sheet for the show that we definitely did not have. We were definitely not informed by production. Feel like that's an oversight. It's a very critical, important oversight production.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, but now you know. So there's only going to be one winner. If you want to go home by winning, only one of you can take that route. Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, I think we will open on, it's the end of the day. You've been here all day. You landed at sunrise. The sun is now setting. You're at the top of this, if I sort of ping, I think you're kind of like here-ish. You're coming out on the side of this, this heavily forested hills. You're high up on a cliff face. There's sort of a narrow dirt road zigzagging down. You're in this Hyundai Pony, which I actually have an image of just in case you're not familiar, which is this 1980s Korean car. Pretty cool.
I love it.
Great.
Yeah. So it's a hatchback. There's 3 of you in there. Oh, something I sort of glossed over or forgot about at the end of last session. I think when you went to the restricted site, at this point you've got Quincy and an alliance of about 50-ish people. Obviously not all those people piled into the bunker with you, so I think they have headed off to meet up with you afterwards. If that sounds all right with you 3, I think they would have had you go into the restricted site alone, and they'll meet back up with you.
Yeah, it feels like leaving them at the sanctuary where we were trying to sort of recruit folks, and more importantly, get folks away from Abthorpe's team. Feels like a good place to have parted ways.
Okay, great. Just as long as you're okay with that, great, Con. Yeah, great. So we focus in on this this little hatchback careening down that road. Willow, you're driving. When you started the engine, the tape deck began blasting a song. What kind of music is blasting over the speakers?
Oh, God, who does that song Magic Carpet Ride?
The remix is by Fatboy Slim. That's all I know.
It's definitely. I think the version you're thinking is Steppenwolf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that is, exactly what
It's blasting.
Yeah.
Perhaps too loud as we start. I don't know if we keep going with it. I think
Yeah, that's a good question. Is that the mood?
Test the vibe. Is everyone else down with this music? Because she likes it.
Yeah. Diana is definitely like nodding her head along with it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well,
I think Calvin's inclined to roll down a window, hold his arm out the side as we're tearing along.
Yeah, and you have this beautiful view over the sparkling sea, the blazing red sunset. I mean, I thought maybe this was a good point to sort of refamiliarize ourselves with the 3 characters. So maybe we'll just go around and the camera shows each of you inside the car. And maybe you can just remind us of like what your character looks like, their mood at the moment, how they're carrying themselves, maybe any injuries, just a general sort of first impression. Maybe we'll start with Willow since she's driving.
Sure. So Willow looks fairly unassuming. She has kind eyes, but actually isn't that kind of a person, as we've been learning. And
she's under a lot of stress, okay?
She's under a lot of stress, all right? God! She used to be a caretaker, and now she's here for reasons I guess she's not quite sure about. But she has decided that she is not going to die. So that is her goal, and she's feeling a little confident about that.
Yeah.
Be cool. Great. Who's in riding shotgun? Who's in the front seat?
I think Calvin is sitting shotgun. Hand out the window, air, wind going through his hair. He looks pretty bad. The bang up on his cheek is appropriate because he smacked his head on the rocks in the water, and he's been pretty worn down. Calvin worked. I think we described it as sort of a high-tech auto manufacturing warehouse. More and more, Calvin is beginning to suspect that perhaps he worked actually at some Deathmatch Island production warehouse, and maybe this is a punishment, not an opportunity. Things feel oddly familiar, but in a way that he can't quite place, and he's been really out of sorts this whole time. But he intrinsically had the sense that we should try and complete whatever the mission is, and now he's trying to second guess why he had such a strong impetus in the beginning to like follow the rules when clearly the rules are meant not the rules are not following in our favor. So he's been growing more and more suspicious of this whole thing. Not that it isn't inherently just a complete shit show, but
And maybe worth mentioning, he also found a corpse that sort of bore a resemblance to himself.
yeah, I think it was the moment of finding the corpse that had a very similar work injury that made him think maybe I don't work in a car manufacturing a warehouse. Maybe I work in some other kind of warehouse.
Yeah.
Great. So Diana in the back seat.
Yeah, Diana is in the back seat on the right hand side, strapped in with a Walther, what was it, a P99 pistol in hand, and it cuts to the confessional, and Diana says, "Hi, my name's Diana. I'm a Taurus, and I thought that was going to be a much bigger part of the show." And then it cuts back to the car, and she's just kind of rocking along with the song.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So those are our three characters. You're tearing down the road. So now we're going to move into phase 2. If you go back to roll 20 there, Sean, maybe we'll take a look at the diagram. If you move to the right.
Yes. Phase 2. Oh, this looks familiar.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So this is the phase 2 diagram. Phase 2 is the battle royale, and it's going to take us from right to the end of this island. Just so you sort of know the scope, it's currently sunset. It'll probably be around sunrise by the time phase 2 is done. So we can kind of think in terms of like hours and montages rather than beat by beat. And we're going to start with the scout stage, where you kind of you figure out what's going on and look for some advantage. And then we'll work through the other stages as we get to them. But so the scout stage is the first stage of phase 2, and the klaxon's gone off. And ideally, I think at this point you split up, because like I said, this is going to take hours. You've got a whole island to cover. And this is just a chance, you've done everything as a unit. This is just a chance for us to see your characters operating alone. And so the way this is going to work mechanically is I'll roll a target number. You can decide how your character approaches the scouting stage, and then roll a capability based on that. So obviously you probably want to choose something that plays to your strengths. Examples of the sort of approaches that you might like to think about. For the scouting stage, so you could be physically like scouting the island, like moving through the jungle, climbing up mountains, clambering down valleys, just trying to make distance to sort of cover the island and see what you can see what the other alliance is up to, that kind of thing. You could be focused on regrouping with allied teams. You left Quincy and your allies back at the sanctuary. You could try and find them before the enemy does, reconnect, make sure you're still tight. You could focus on spying on the enemy alliance. You could surveil them, sneak around, be sneaky, that kind of thing. You could even infiltrate their team if you want, go undercover. So those are just broad sort of suggestions.
I'm definitely if all of us are scouting, if the enemy team is also scouting, then I'm going to find the enemy scouts and knock them out.
Cool.
Ideally non-lethally, but we'll see what happens.
But we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Great. So that sounds like a deathmatch sort of approach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I like the idea, Mendez, that Diana might have like filmed an earlier clip at the beginning before she entered this of like, I'm gonna find all the other people and knock them out, and it was like with my amazing smile, and it's like
Yeah.
and it's
You know,
like
just
it's
you
like
know.
changed slightly.
Yeah, and then it cuts to her like rising up from like some scout is like facing towards the camera over a bush, and Diana just kind of like rises behind them and like knocks them on the back of the head with the pistol,
Nice.
quietly ties them up.
Awesome.
So I have a question. We all have a fair amount of fatigue and injury right now.
Sure.
Is there going to be an opportunity to address that?
You will heal your fatigue between islands.
Okay.
So as soon as, and this is the last stage of the island. So pretty soon you'll get all your fatigue back. Also, there's kind of no downside to getting a lot of injuries. And as you get injuries, they unlock advances as sort of represents like, shit just got real kind of thing.
I mean, I think there is a downside to getting lots of injuries production, which is that they don't heal, and that when you fill them all up, you can't take any more injuries or do anything else for that matter.
Okay, a small downside, but production would rather you didn't think about that. But
Yeah.
play to win is what I would say.
Go for it. Yeah. So I think this works like a regular challenge, right? You're gonna give us
Yeah.
target
Sorry,
number
I'll give you the target number now.
see who will face it, or this is one where we all do it anyway. So
Let's get that target number going. A 7, easy.
easy peasy.
Yeah, so if you can choose your capability depending on your approach here. So just
This is the first time the production roll hasn't been like a monster.
Yeah.
I'll bring up my handy contest run sheet thing.
Oh yes, lovely.
So since last time I made a little run sheet just to remind myself of how these things go. So the way each contest is going to go, we first block the scene like a TV show. So you would state your goal and approach. So we've already had that for Diana, but maybe for the others, we'll find out what kind of approach they're taking to the scout. Then I roll a target number, which I've done. And then we have a roll call where you, if you're competing, and I assume you all are here, you just dictate the chyron that would come up on screen. So your name, nickname, any acquisitions you're using, your occupation, if it's relevant, that kind of thing. Then once we're all ready, you all roll, and then we'll find out what happened after that point with narration and confessionals and stuff.
All right. Well, I've already stated what Diana's up to, so I'm definitely deathmatching it. I don't have any fatigue left to do other stuff.
Oh, you can always take injuries in place of fatigue. If your fatigue's full, it just rolls an injury.
I'll wait till the third stage for that.
All right.
Maybe.
Calvin, Judge Summers, Chiron. This Chiron sort of appears on the screen again in black and white, which is I don't know if it's standard, but his when he appears, it's in black and white. I will join in this contest, and the thing I want to do, I think, really is snake mode because it's climbing through the bushes to sort of spy on Aberthorpe's group. But you can bet that I'm going to add some climbing up trees and swinging around things and put a little challenge beast into that as well.
Beautiful.
Yes, I will also partake in this scene, in this challenge.
And how about Willow?
Oh, for sure. Willow, War Dog, Snow will be participating. It occurs to Willow that maybe driving around in a car is a little conspicuous with this whole sneaking around and trying not to be ambushed and killed from what was his name's Aberthorpe's
Yeah,
gang
that's it.
or any other groups that we haven't met yet. So I think she's going to park the car, but lock it, and and do a little snake mode herself of trying to see if she can find anybody, but keep a lower profile than just like blazing across dirt roads in a car.
You're trying to find enemies or your allies?
I'll try to find allies.
Okay, beautiful. That's great. Okay, so you can all click the relevant capability and go through the little dice procedure that it guides you through. So you're gonna the capability you click first will be the dice you bring, and then you decide whether your nickname applies here. That's up to you, and you can justify it after the fact when you do your narration and confessional or whatever. You can spend fatigue, or if you're out of fatigue, you can spend an injury to bring in another capability. Again, every time you mark an injury with a dot, you get an advance. So there is an upside to taking some injuries. You could spend support for support dice. And you could spend your acquisitions.
How do we get our trust back up?
Between islands, you'll do some trust building exercises.
We can also support one another.
Yes, that's a good point. Yep. You can
So I mean,
support in roll.
this is not a great opportunity to do it, but Tim, I'm just flagging right now that I took another injury to do this, which took me up to the advancement phase. So I'm advancing my challenge beast to oh, and I didn't do it though. Hold on, I'm advancing my challenge beast to D10 as part of this.
Great.
Damn.
Great.
I just keep not hitting the right thing, but
So if you want to bring that into your confessional, that would be cool, but up to you.
I absolutely will. Yeah.
Great. Do you want to roll for a random injury, or do you want to, you can just decide what makes sense based on what happens?
Is there an injury rolling table?
Of course there is. Yeah.
Of course there is.
Great.
You can roll 3d6 if you want a random injury. You can take it or leave it. You can roll it and then decide.
Yeah, sure. I'll
Oh,
Okay.
whoa. I have rolled apparently.
Oh, that was surprisingly close.
Oh.
But you made it. That's good. Oosh.
Whew. Hooray.
Pretty good. Cool. Okay, so 70,000 followers for Calvin Summers. And then 40,000, 4 boxes each for Diana and Willow. No one fails, and we'll go. We'll start the narrations and confessionals from last highest. So since 2 of you tied, I think just whoever wants to go first can. Just to give you a bit of context for to work against. The general situation you will find out during the scouting stage. If you recall, Calvin found a little GPS tracker thing with all the dots, and you saw that all the enemy dots were kind of gathering in a big circle.
Mm-hmm.
And,
around like the edge of the island, right? Like
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and basically what you will find out during the scout stage, and it's kind of up to you to describe how you find this out. I guess gradually. But it seems like Abthorpe's alliance, which is huge, has spread out in a massive circle, a dragnet, to surround the enemies, and it's going to slowly get smaller and smaller and herd the survivors into a smaller and smaller area, and then sort of shoot them like fish in a barrel. So you kind of find yourselves in a massive dragnet is the situation. So I should have prompted this up front, but there's actually sort of a question here, which is this will also play into your confessionals and narration, but how do you want to approach this phase 2? Because you could confront the dragnet head on and break the dragnet and stand with Quincy and the rest of the alliance and protect them. Or you could sort of ignore the dragnet, go find Abthorpe, who's presumably behind the circle, and cut off the head of the snake, as it were, which might put your allies in danger because you're not there with them.
Well, let me start. So I think that given that I'm going out and taking out scouts, I come back to the Hyundai Pony and I identify the place where I expect the circle will be weakest and easiest to break through. And I'm adamant that we cannot let ourselves get surrounded. That never ends well. We have to, even if I'm wrong about where the weak point of the circle is, we have to break through.
That's your vote.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, technically, Calvin is the leader, so he gets final say because he was best in the last contest.
Yeah, I think Calvin is moved by that, by Diana's, you know, account, and agrees with the logic. But there is a thing about the way the show is edited, where it's not until Calvin goes, okay, yeah, I agree, that we see everybody moving out. So though it was Diana's idea, because Calvin is the lead and has the most followers right now, it shows, the production shows the clip of him, which
Yeah.
I'm sure.
In reality, I was like, do you want the second bag of popcorn?
Right. Yeah, there's a very grave, like,
Yeah, it's a Frankenbite. So just so I'm clear, you're going to break the circle and ignore Abthorpe for now, is that right?
I think we're going to break the circle and go after Abthorpe.
Oh, you're going to go after Abthorpe, right?
Yeah.
So potentially not stand with your allies at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good to know. And so just to rewind a bit, Diana, you were going to go out there and take out some competitors, so maybe we can cut to that. You're out on your own in the jungle. The sun has gone down at this point, it's dark, and two competitors in these salmon coveralls come bursting out of the jungle with machetes. What does Diana do at that point?
You see, like, Diana, they're coming towards Diana across a clearing, and Diana has rigged up some kind of like primitive snare that catches up one of them, and then the other one turns and sees like the first one getting like pulled up into the trees, like in a Looney Tunes cartoon. And in that moment, Diana shoots the first guy, shoots the one who's on the ground. And then goes over and grabs the flailing guy in the tree and like hits him in the head until he stops moving.
Brutal. Yeah, that's great. And it's after that point, when you're making your way back to the pony, you come to a clearing in the jungle, and there is a plinth, and on the plinth is like a silver platter, and on the platter is an envelope and a rose.
Oh.
It's a trap.
Well,
You need to pick it up. It's a trap.
Diana can super not resist
Yeah.
a rose.
All right, great. Well, the note, if you unfold that, is in calligraphy, and it reads, "All fears in love and war. Play to win." And
All right.
the rose is it's a real rose, not plastic. Good production values. But underneath that is a little switchblade with a little bit of tape. So it's a secret switchblade. You can put it on your character sheet as an advantage.
Oh, great.
Just put secret switchblade. And the way this works is you can use this as an advantage in a future contest, so long as the people you use it against don't know about it. It's not a big blade. The advantage is in the fact that they don't know that you have this thing up your sleeve.
Great. Awesome. I stuff it in my boot.
Great. Cool. So I think next up was Willow.
Yeah, so I was going around trying to find where our allies were at, just so I could get a feel for what their positioning is.
So you make your way back to the sanctuary?
Yeah.
How's Willow move through the jungle? Like, is she moving like a commando, like Diana was?
No, I think it's just very matter of fact. She's just kind of hiking.
Great. Well, you make it back to them, and it does seem like they have the sanctuary on lockdown, mostly because the enemy alliance is just in the circle that's gradually closing in. So the enemy forces aren't too bothered about attacking just yet. But maybe at this point you're starting to see them on the hilltops in the distance. You're starting to get a sense of what's going on. But Quincy is glad to see you, and she calls you over and asks for a private word in one of these abandoned big mansions, if you're up for that.
Sure. I love these mansions.
She kind of looks around.
You're in the walk-in closet.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Massive walk-in closet. And she basically lays out, look, I think you know and we know that out of the end of this, only one team, if that, is going to make it. And maybe you're tight with your original three. You came here on the boat together. I get that. But, we're working together, but there might come a point where we have to turn on each other. And so, look, I mean, I like you. I think we could work together. I'm just saying, maybe if it gets to that point, we could look out for each other, have a little secret alliance.
So Willow knows that it was like the 100 to half to
Yeah.
6 to 1. Or what? Was it even to half or just go from 100 to 6?
It went from hundreds to half, whatever that is, to 6 to 1.
So she knows it's like, well, technically, I only really have to worry once there's 6 of us left. So she says, yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
She holds out a hand for a handshake and she says, great, look, I don't want you to have to betray your team. I don't want to betray my team. I'm just saying, if it gets to the point where secret conversations are going on, I'll look out for you with my people. You can look out for me. And it will work out for both of us. Great. You can mark down 1 trust with Quincy on your character sheet.
Nice.
So you can use that in any contest. That's worth a D8.
Maybe I was lying.
Well, she trusts you at least.
Sucker.
Yeah, you have her.
That was your first mistake.
Fantastic. Why don't we go over to Kelvin?
Awesome. So Calvin, I spent a bond with Diana in this because I felt like what Diana was doing was helping me, which was to kind of get behind the dragnet, the enemy lines, and that involves some crawling through some bushes. I would not say commando style, but like duck hunting style, like not afraid at all to be on the ground and getting muddy. And
a dog is laughing at you.
What's that? Yeah, the
Said a
dog is the chuckling dog in Duck Hunt is laughing at me. I did roll randomly for injuries. If you want to tell me
I missed
what
that
they
one.
rolled. I got
Did they show up in the chat?
661. If you want to tell me what the injury that is.
So 13.
Yeah, I can incorporate that into this description.
Yeah, fantastic. 13 is impaled thigh.
Oh no.
Is what thigh?
Something impaled thigh. Something impaled your thigh.
Okay, perfect. Got this. So this is a mix of a snake mode and challenge beast in that it starts by sort of sneaking behind the line thanks to Gandhi's peaceful methods of eliminating of our opposition and finding out, listening in on some of their conversations and finding out where they are sort of concentrating their efforts. And so we see that, and then we cut to like a flashback of Calvin looking at the map and seeing crashed plane on the seeing crash. And Tim, tell me this is too over the top.
No, please. Yeah.
But seeing this, crash plane on the map, and he sort of looks, and when we then cut back to all of them, when we cut back to like him being behind the lines, we see, or when we cut back to the enemies, we see them look up, and this plane that was like kind of sitting halfway on a ledge, it topples over all the way over and comes crashing down. There's this, not so much, it's an explosion, but it's not like explosive. It's like debris.
Not with fire.
Not
a fire explosion. It's an other stuff explosion.
It's an other stuff explosion. And as we see that Calvin, because it was already like right on the precipice, was already on the edge. All it took was a little bit of tipping over, and Calvin had rigged up some ropes to sort of get some leverage. Actually, let me say rigged up some ropes because I like the thigh injury. He actually just got underneath it and with some leverage sort of tipped it over. But of course, when this explosion happens, this like bit of a wing foil like just flew up and like cut it horribly into his thigh. But yes, yeah, the plane corpse goes collapsing, and the end result is a ton of Amthorpe's folks swarm an area where nobody is that they suspect folks are, and so we have them kind of all, not all of them, but a bunch of them in one place that is identifiable. And I'm limping out with a bit of crashed plane in my leg.
And your goal is to locate Abthorpe, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Great, because you want to track him down and confront him.
Yep.
I mean, I think at this point, he comes to the plane crash, like he's right there. You can go back and get your team for the big confrontation. But he is like, he's trying to wave you down. He'd like to talk before you leave the site.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So he like sees me limping along. Is he with all his cronies, or is this a moment for a one-on-one conversation?
This is a one-on-one.
All right. Yeah, bloodied, beat up, wrapping a yellow kerchief that he found out of nowhere around his leg to staunch the blood flow. Calvin heads over.
Great. So I think maybe there's a clearing around the side of this plane, and you're at some distance. Obviously, he doesn't fully trust you. You probably don't fully trust him.
No.
But there's no one else.
Both of us, I think, both sides have gunmen looking towards this.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. But importantly, this conversation is private, and he hails you and basically he gives you he lays down that he saw you go to the blinking light, and that all he wants, as he said at the start, is to find out what's going on and put a stop to it. And that the people you have allied yourself with, Quincy and that, they want to win. They want to get home. But he knows, or he says, he knows, his impression is that you want to stop this. You want to find out what's going on and stop it, and that's what he wants.
It's not the words I heard you say, Abthorpe. I heard you say, everyone follow my rule or suffer for it. I heard you standing up on top of that building with a loudspeaker, commanding everyone to set down their guns and join you or be your enemy.
That was like an hour ago. People
don't. Right. Well, that's true. In reality shows, people's that was like two episodes ago, or at least an episode ago. But I'm gonna recall what I took as a very hostile approach, and see what he thinks about that before I. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he says, means to an end. We're in a life or death situation. There's no room for error. I'm a police officer. I take charge. I make no apologies for that.
Yeah. You're instilling all kinds of trust. So what is it you're hoping to get out of this?
It's an offer. You give us Quincy and the others you've been working with, and you can survive to the next island. You can come with us.
How do you want this to go down? I mean, we don't have a lot of time here.
You go back to your team. You shoot Quincy and whoever else is in charge of that alliance in the back.
No.
Yeah.
Then we all get on our boats and go to the next island.
Don't do it.
All right. I set up a meet location with him to bring Quincy's body. But I want it to be some private meetup with him. I'm not gonna drag her into his gang.
Seems fair. Can I trust you?
To want to get off this island in one piece? Yeah. Seems like the smartest way to do it.
Okay, boy. I'll see you then. He
Sort
walks
of.
off.
Yeah.
Now you do get an advantage, and I guess maybe that's your advantage is this meet. I don't know if you have another advantage in mind, but since you were the best in the scout stage, you get a D10 advantage to use at some other point in phase 2.
Yeah. Well, if I'm not being too demanding here, what I'd like is one trust with Abthorpe and the advantage of a meet that we have.
Okay, sure. Yeah, one trust with Abthorpe, plus you get your scout advantage. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Meeting site arranged. D10. Just.
It's good. I like it. Playing to win.
Yeah.
So now we'll go to the next. We'll go to the next stage. It's maybe midnight now. The circle is tightening. You've decided to try and take out Abthorpe. So at this stage, you're going to sort of. There are two parts to it: the seize and defend. You can each decide which of those you want to do. If someone wins the seize, you get to decide basically the stakes for all the competitors here, which in this case means like of the people we've met, who's going to survive to go to the next island and who will die. So if you want Abthorpe to not make it, you have to win the seas. If you want Quincy to make it, you have to win the seas. You still have to win the battle royale to make that happen, but you get to decide those stakes by winning the seas.
All right, so
And
how does this work with the defends? So
yes.
defends are pointed at threats, right? There's like
That's
a
right.
threat of like this is going to happen unless someone defends against it.
Exactly, you've got it. So there's two threats. One threat is that because you're going to confront Abthorpe and not staying with your allies, the Dragnet will encircle and kill many of the people you left behind, including Quincy. So Quincy will die here, and many of the allies you've just made. The second threat is that Abthorpe is going to spread a rumor that you are secretly working for production, which means by the time of Island 2, a whole lot of these competitors, friends or foe, won't trust you anymore because they'll think you're secretly working for the production team. So those are the two threats.
So should we have two people defend and then one person seize?
I think we can allocate it. I mean, that's if we succeed at all those things. If every one of us wins at our wall, then that's the ideal setup. But I could, like, when Calvin returns, he is dead set on going to this meeting and catching Abthorpe there with enough forces to take him and his crew down. So he wants to gather a couple people to come with him. He's going to grab a body. There's tons of them everywhere that look vaguely like Quincy, and plans to drag it over there, which to me feels like it's seize all the way. I'm absolutely trying to keep Quincy alive and make Abthorpe not.
All right, so I will defend against the first thing.
Okay, sounds great.
Which one was that?
Quincy and the allies dying.
Got it.
So I will physically defend Quincy and the allies. And I will, yeah. I think,
How about Willow?
I don't know. I'm not sure strategically what's better. I did, just tell Quincy that we would watch out for each other, so I feel like maybe I should help her out. So I guess I could defend as well.
Mm-hmm. The sort of fuzzy logic of defend, and Tim, tell me if this is different in Deathmatch Island, is that you can wait till the dice are rolled kind of to decide what you defend against. So if it turns out that only one of you succeed in the defense, you can be like, oh yeah, the way my defense works is I am I'm stopping this rumor from being spread, or I'm protecting Quincy's folks.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yeah,
Um,
totally.
yeah, I'll defend.
Great. So we're two of us are defending and one of us is
Mhm.
seizing.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, let's do the defense first. So you are up against this vast alliance. The relevant trait here is that they are innumerable. There are tons of them. And you can roll any capability based on how you think you're going about this. So I'll just get a roll in the chat. Oh, okay. I
Oh
got two
gosh.
eights.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
God damn.
Sometimes the dice be like that. All right, that's 13.
Yeah, you know, if you roll over, if you mouse over the die roll, you can see what Tim rolled. So if Tim hadn't rolled his first 8, he had another 8. If the Vast Alliance didn't get an 8, the Innumerable got an 8 to.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
But we have some acquisitions, right? I think this is a good time to pull them out.
Yeah, I think I will throw a grenade.
Fun.
That's a good defensive
Yeah,
weapon.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a shot of like Diana looking at like a mob of people running up a hill towards her, and she just looks at the grade like, guess that's what these are for.
Yeah, acquisitions. If you have trust to spend, you could spend that here.
I'm definitely death matching this to defend
Good idea.
my new friends in Quincy's alliance. I'm definitely using my nickname, invoking Gandhi's
Grenade abilities.
Gandhi's military experience in South Africa, as part of the ambulance corps.
Wow. Perfect.
Yeah, that's the thing Gandhi did apparently.
I mean, you said it. It's true.
Yeah, Gandhi formed the Indian Ambulance Corps in South Africa during the Second Boer War. There you go. He had one of those hats that like goes up on the side.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, very asymmetrical hat.
That's a very cool hat.
Yeah.
Cool. What's Willow bringing to the contest?
Sorry, am I explaining my whole role before I'm rolling it, or?
No, just curious, like what capability you're rolling and whether your nickname applies. Just the whole sort of Chiron thing.
I think the nickname definitely applies. She's got a bunch of grenades and weapons and all types of things. I don't know how many of them I can use.
You can use as many as you want. Just add up all the numbers.
Oh, fantastic.
If you use 2, just put a 2 in the acquisitions box.
Can I use the car?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
What's how much is the trust die is 1d6? What is it? Or 1d8? It's d6, right?
It uses their name die, and I think you're all a d6 right now. So yeah, that'd be a d6.
All right.
What were you
I
asking?
think it's
What are you
grenade
going to say
time.
about the car? Sure.
I was going to say, so the car doesn't count as an acquisition; it counts as an advantage. So you can use it. So it'll have a die size that you could add in on bonus dice.
Yeah, I'm going to say d10 here. I think it's totally useful.
Okay.
Very applicable. So put 1d10 in the advantage box.
Nice.
And we know Diana just failed, so
Oh, bummer.
to metagame a bit, I would throw whatever you have at this.
No pressure, but yeah, using your best traits.
I mean, my best trait is social game. I'm really not talking it out.
You could certainly use social game to trick people, to lure people out, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you can spend fatigue to roll multiple traits. So you can say like, oh, this is going to be a deathmatch trait because I'm going to kill people, but I'm going to use social game as well, like to lure them out.
Or a social game, you're there with your allies, so maybe it's about like bolstering them and sort of a bit of like leadership and improving morale and getting everyone working well together on your side.
Mm-hmm.
You might also want to spend that bond with Quincy in case she dies right now.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I can't remember now. I'm sorry. I have so many like advantages and acquisitions and trust, and I don't know what die size those all are.
Yes. So once you get up to the advantage box, if you're using the trust with Quincy and the car, you're going to put in 1d8 plus 1d10 for that little advantage box that comes up, I think, about 4 steps into the.
And if I wanted to use an acquisition as well, is that in a separate thing?
That is the final step. It'll say acquisitions.
Okay.
And just so if you're using 2, just put in 2 as a number.
I'm just going to use 1.
So what that'll do is roll that many d4s and take the highest.
Okay.
Hey, 19.
I just
Whoa.
threw everything at it.
The car gave you a
Fantastic.
10. So good job, Hyundai.
Good job, car. Yeah.
Woohoo!
All right. So Diana, you get 10,000 followers when you follow a box. Willow, you get 130,000 followers.
Oh my god.
I get 1 box, right? You said.
Yeah, you get some new followers. You know, you're on screen. 1 box, 10,000 followers. Yeah, 13 for Willow.
That's amazing.
And so Diana, you also have to mark fatigue, and if you don't have any fatigue left, mark an injury.
All right.
Dana, I think, yeah. So that box below the gray box is still a box. So there is 4 fatigue
Correct.
you can take. So you don't have to. You still got 1 open before you take injury.
Wait, no. I have 3 boxes filled, and then I have a gray box, and then I have 1.
The gray box is nothing.
Yeah, but underneath the gray box, there is 1 more fatigue box. It's
Oh.
it's sort of the Roll20 sheet being adapted. And
Okay. I thought that was an injury. Okay.
No,
All
no,
right.
not
No.
an injury until you get to injury. So you're
It's a vestigial thing. Yeah, it's from agony.
Yes.
yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, you only take
skills to remove it.
fatigue in this case.
So that should max out your fatigue, I think. Is that right?
No, that's I have 1 more before I max fatigue.
Okay, great. All right, well, let's start with you. Do you want to describe how this goes and how you fall short? Maybe the enemy alliance is stronger than you thought, or
I think they identify the hard point at the blinking light as the main target, and they throw like a vast amount of resources, like all of their scrubs, they throw at the blinking light fortification. So you see the Diana pull the pin from the frag and throw it, and it explodes, and lots of people go flying in pieces, and 24 people rush through the wreckage, and they overwhelm the sanctuary, and you see the automated defenses just taking out lots of Abthorpe's guys, and Abthorpe just doesn't care. And you see Diana, firing into the smoke as she and the rest of Quincy's people like retreat from those fortifications in tatters, leaving bodies in their wake.
fantastic. So we'll move over to Willow. I guess the important question is, which of these 2 threats do you want to defend against? Because only one of you succeeded. So do you want to protect Quincy and your allies, or do you want to not? The other threat was that everyone is going to believe that you lot are secretly in cahoots with production.
I'm definitely protecting Quincy.
Okay. So
'Cause
that rumor
I
gets
said
out
I
there.
would, and I feel like I should at least follow through on that promise once before I betray her.
So what happens that makes Quincy think, even after she has been protected, that we are in bed with production?
Because where
think
did this car come from?
Exactly. You're driving an orange car with a logo on the side.
Oh, do you just like pull, as we're running away, you pull up in the car and you're like, come with me if you want to live.
Very much. Like, it's looking super bad, and then like this fucking whatever. I don't know if we're on cassette tapes in this Hyundai or not, but it's just on repeat on Steppenwolf. So you hear it again. I don't know. We only got the rights to one
Yeah,
song.
we
Hear it
couldn't pay for
again,
more song rights.
and she is like throws her chaff grenade, like spins a really cool way and stops the car, is like firing her pistol to like try to lay down some suppressing fire, and is like yelling for Quincy to get in. But yeah, it's like, where did she get this this like redacted acquisition? Where did she get the car? Where is all this coming from? When like before, we had absolutely nothing, and now she comes out with like all this shit.
Yeah.
So it looks a little suspicious, but also Quincy's alive. So
Yeah.
I'm
It's
also
complicated emotions on her face.
yeah.
I'm also going to very much play up into the they might be in cahoots with production in my description, whether I would succeed or fail. So I'll also make us seem really culpable in that regard.
Yeah, well, let's
Plenty of
go
culpable.
over there. Let's go over there now. So,
Oh, now? Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think that's the defense. Quincy and the allies were protected. The rumors out there. So the second part is, I guess, I mean, this is the C's. So to my mind, this is about you setting up that meet as you want. And I mean, is that kind of what you're thinking, or?
Yeah. I absolutely have. I've found somebody who has a ponytail that is dead and is roughly in Quincy's frame, and
Good enough.
splash some more mud on them. And I've got a couple. Oh, good, another 13.
Far
Oh
out,
my
far out.
God.
Um, awesome. Let's see. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted that. Yeah. Um, and I've got. Well, I will. Sorry, I'm forgetting my own rules. I'm engaging in this contest of C's. Do I also get to choose the capabilities, Tim?
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yep.
Oh, it's very hard not to choose Challenge Beast when.
I mean, at this point, it's a 13. Just do what you're good at.
Yeah. Um, okay, I'm gonna make this a Challenge Beast, and it'll make a lot of sense very soon. So, what acquisitions do I have?
See, that's a
You got
good
two
question. When
pistols.
we have these kind of aggro situations, what is the difference between Challenge Beast and Deathmatch? I mean, when we're at a challenge point, Challenge Beast makes sense.
Yeah, deathmatch is definitely more applicable. I would say challenge based. There has to be some like physical athletic component. So whether that's
Got it.
like climbing or jumping or
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. When you guys see where the meeting place is, it'll make sense. So
Fair enough.
I feel confident in this. So
Okay, are you using your advantage from the scout?
oh hell yeah. Well, oh, I could save it for the battle royale.
It is a 13.
Yeah, I think I will use it. All right, so 13. What's Apthorpe's name die?
Good question. Probably a D8, but he might be higher. Let me have a quick check. D8. D8.
Yeah, I will. I don't know how he would trust me after this, but I'm going to hold on to his trust for this moment. But I will use the meeting site because it fits into my acquisition or my description that I have in mind, and I'm using my guns as well. So let's see if that works. Nope,
Oh, that was a bad roll.
that was a
Oh, no.
really bad roll.
5, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1.
All of the
Okay,
ones.
well,
Yikes.
Mark, you used a weapon, right?
Oh yeah, I
Did you?
used two weapons. Yeah,
Okay, so that makes this dangerous. So you're going to mark another injury here.
great.
You could use that trust with Abthorpe to block that injury, but
Oh yeah, that's true. No, that's fine. Take another drink.
okay. Yeah, 10,000 new followers. How does it go down?
It goes down like this. some folks come out of some folks sort of Abthorpe's crew come, but it isn't Abthorpe. He is wise enough to know not to fall into this trap. I think he walks some way and then stops and sends them in. And as the camera angle switches, we see that where they're coming to is the area of the blinking lights, and all the automated weapon defense systems go off. And I am fucking running and jumping and shooting, but mostly just trying to avoid these defense systems that I was trying to lure Abthorpe into, because we'd already done it once, and so that site was a total booby trap. It was just all of the redacted, all of the automated systems. I was trying to lure him in. I think some of his guys do probably perish in the fray, but not any significant number, specifically not him. And let's roll for another injury that I take.
Well, it would have been a great plan if it had
I don't
worked.
think you're up to a notable one, right?
What's that?
You're not up to a notable injury, so you don't have to. You only roll for the little dots.
Oh, I only roll for the little dots. Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't take a notable injury. All right, so I took one.
You should write down impaled thigh on your notable. There's a notable injury section on the character sheet.
Oh yeah, notable injuries. All right, thank you. Bit, leg. Was it
Leg plane.
leg?
Plane
What?
and leg.
Yeah,
Leg
that
plane.
case,
Wasn't there a bit of plane?
leg there.
Yeah, leg plane.
plane
That's,
leg.
yeah. Plane shrapnel in leg.
Yep.
Shrap.
Cool. And I mean the upshot is you lost the siege. I think
Isn't it?
you just don't have control of the battle at this stage. You can still win the battle royale. There's still game to play for, but
Yeah.
at this point, it's just about getting through. I mean, the stakes aren't on the table, so you're not necessarily going to be able to kill Abthorpe.
Yep.
Dang.
We're trying to get through to survive to the next island at this point, rather than to have things be the way we want them to be.
Exactly.
But that said, Quincy was defended.
Yes, Quincy is safe. That's
Yeah.
that's locked in. That's locked in.
And I'd like to say that it's unclear from the distance, since Abthorpe wasn't willing to come in himself, that the body I had wasn't Quincy. He might figure it out.
Okay.
I don't know, but I think it's from production's perspective, it looks unclear, and that's when we cut back to like Willow being super awesome and actually rescuing Quincy, but Abthorpe might not know it.
I love it. So now we're at the battle royale. The circle is tightening. The battle is at its fiercest. It's like 3 a.m. now. You're exhausted. A light rain starts falling. Everything's muddy. Your coveralls are soaked. And we get into the final scenes here as the circle tightens. Abthorpe's right there. And battle royale is always deathmatch. So you have to roll deathmatch for this one. And because production won the seas, there's no bonus capability, which I won't bother explaining because it's not going to come up. So I'm just going to roll this straight. And once again, you face the Vast Alliance, Innumerable, in a deathmatch contest. Tara. I rolled 3 8s in a row.
All right, it's a curse.
I'm not
Tim.
even rolling that many dice.
When you GM, you just roll, or when you're a strife player or a producer, you just roll your best rolls. I've had this curse as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
Awesome.
this is it. This is what it all comes down to. Click. So who's up, and give us your Chiron, give us your name, your nickname if it applies. Any acquisitions you're bringing. Who's in?
I mean, I'm in, and
I'm in.
gonna roll absolutely everything I can think of.
Good call. Now remember, if you want to use redacted acquisitions, you can do, but you have to spend fatigue or injury to bring in redacted as a second capability.
I'll just
Ah.
use
Just
just regular acquisition.
if you do the redacted thing, that just represents the fact that you're breaking the rules in this contest in some way.
Yeah. I see. So to use a redacted acquisition, you have to bring in
Redacted capability.
redacted capability. Oh, okay. It's clever. Um,
Well, I have other weapons.
what's the framework for this big fight, Tim? Is it just the circle is closed and now it's a big bloody gunfight?
I mean, you chose not to be at the center of the circle, so I think at this point the three of you have probably reconvened, maybe somewhere between Sanctuary and the Blinking Light. I guess you had some plan to all gang up on Abthorpe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I don't know if
presumably
we're
you've
still going
reconvened.
with that plan.
Yep.
Presumably you had some plan to meet up though for that, I guess, which is when Calvin tells you that Abthorpe kind
Yeah.
of slipped out of the snare, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm using
Calvin-
everything I got.
Great, good idea.
All right.
And at
All
that
right.
point, I think competitors are just pouring out of the jungle, and it's just a fight for your life. As I think there are like contest terminals everywhere. There's computer screens, and there's probably a number on it that started at like 416 out of 208, and it's the number of competitors alive, and the number. Once it reaches a certain number, phase 2 is over. You go to the next island, and you're just watching that number like tick down as all these people get killed. And at this point, you're pretty close to having survived phase 2.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's at like, I don't know, 260 out of 216 or something like that.
All right.
And you're just watching that number tick down. You know you just need to survive for another couple of hours as Abthorpe's competitors just come pouring at you out of the jungle.
All
Well,
right.
I'm unfortunately now having technical difficulties in roll 20.
I
It's not
too
loading.
have lost connection to roll 20.
Yeah. I have also. Fun times.
Oh man.
Look at the
Um,
status page, right?
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
check on that status page.
All right. So I'll use my physical dice.
See if roll 20.
Physical dice. I gotta get up for this.
The roll 20 page says it's okay, so a refreshing of the screen may make it work. Yeah, it just came back
I think I'm
online.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like it was a temporary glitch, just like most of our, it's like just production would have in mind. It's just a
Fun.
temporary glitch.
Oh, is it back up for you all?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Oh,
think we're back.
okay.
yeah,
It's coming back in pieces for me,
yeah.
slowly.
So
There we go.
when we do the Chirons, Calvin will support. Who do I have
Oh.
fewer less trust with? Calvin will support Willow. Yes. So I'm going to lend you I'm going to give you a D6.
Oh, cool. Okay.
We can still support in. I wrote this damn game. I should know, but on YouTube, we should still support in the finale, right?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Sure.
Okay, cool.
So you just get
Okay.
to trust.
Target number is
and,
still 13.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes, it is. Yeah.
All right.
I could re-roll since roll 20 went down.
Yeah, it's
All
fine.
right.
You would
Can I
just roll
use
higher.
Can I use my secret switchblade and a trust die?
Certainly. Who's your trust with?
I guess Calvin. 'Cause I used
Sure.
it
Yeah.
last
So
time.
just type in 1d10 plus 1d6.
Okay.
I will definitely try and lure Abthorpe out for you to use the Suika Switchblade and
All right, and I'll spend my last pistol. Here we go.
All right. You ready to roll, Willow?
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
trying to.
One on the D10. One.
All right. The blade was not helpful.
Suika
Is this-
Switchblade did not
Are
help.
roses meaningless?
Did you keep the rose? Do you have the rose as well as the blade?
Yes.
The rose is the most important part, right?
Yeah.
But your acquisition maxed out, so you're
Yeah, I shot a guy
you shot a guy.
in the face.
All right, so I'm trying to put together all my weapons again. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting what all the acquisitions count as.
Yeah, I think you have quite a few.
Oh, we do acquisitions at the other time. So, all right, so I'm using my car as cover. I have a 1d6 from Calvin. Wondering if it would make sense to use trust with. Yeah, I can spend trust as well.
Yep.
Cool. Let's see.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Very
Just
fun.
Correct.
barely.
So 130,000 followers for Diana.
Oh
Your
my
little
God.
follow account on your wrist, beep, beep, beep. All this paper is just pouring out, dot metric style. And 70,000 new followers for Willow. Has
So
anyone hit their
how many boxes do I get?
13.
13?
That exactly puts me at the edge. Or I
Yay.
have filled
Nice.
up all of the boxes.
Nice. Ding, ding, ding. All right,
You are
clear
now
them
the
all.
leader.
Yeah, you're now the leader. Tick the 400,000 followers box.
Okay, and I can clear them all.
Clear the rest, yep. And change your
Very
name die
cool.
to D8.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, you've become a minor celebrity, and so now, of course, you're more likely to succeed in the show.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Meant to have that up. I didn't realize I was. Bum, bum, bum.
Cool.
Show. I don't know. I don't know if it's really visible on stream, but Diana now has.
Have you leveled up, Willow, your name?
No, I'm
quite.
not.
Close though.
I'm getting there. People didn't like me at the beginning. I don't know why.
Let's start with Willow. How do these last hours of the Battle Royale go for Willow? You
So
succeed.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was saying you did succeed, so I guess things
Yeah.
go well.
So I've been hiding under the car, taking rather sneaky kind of shots at people's ankles. And occasionally, and I threw my last grenade. I get a little bit of bolstering from Diana because at some point I shout to her, "Hey, Diana, what's your favorite sandwich and why?" And Diana, I'm not sure how you answer that.
Hot pepper panini. Any kind of meat.
Excellent choice. Willow is impressed by that. She feels good about that. Calvin, how are you helping? You gave.
Yeah, I was assisting. You were firing from underneath the car.
Yeah.
So I think Calvin, the way Calvin aids is to continue to sort of be. I think he's calling because you have really low visibility from underneath the car. So he's perched a little higher up and he's calling out your directions. So
Nice.
he's calling out 9 o'clock. Letting you know where someone's coming from.
Very cool. All right, yeah, that's me.
Perfect. So Diana, yeah, I mean you can wrap it out. I don't think Abthorpe dies here, but if you want to give him a grievous injury, I think that's totally within the bounds of.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Sure.
would do that.
Cool. So, I definitely called on Calvin's. There's definitely a moment of Diana rallying everybody, in the remaining still fighting non-casualty people in Quincy's group with a rousing speech. And rallying them to make this fighting retreat. There's a moment where she capitalizes on Calvin's help. But Calvin, what did you do that helped Diana out?
I think if your goal is to be a rousing speech that will to get everyone to jump in. Calvin is one of the first to be like, yeah, I will go run and do despite this leg injury, it runs out, and a few folks follow, and then that sort of like helps start the tidal wave that you have evoked.
Great. So there's this screaming, raucous resistance against the surging tides of Apthorpe's people, and I think there's the last moment of War Dog underneath the car shooting, and Apthorpe himself is like coming up and is like standing over. You're half stuck out of the car, and he's standing over you, and then suddenly the car door like slams open, and Diana comes out, and like stabs the switchblade through Abthorpe's like the arm that he was holding the pistol that he was about to shoot you with.
Oh, nice.
And then um, she just like drags you into the driver's seat, just like drive, and we you gun it, and I'm like firing backwards out of the window of this Hyundai Pony as you drive us to safety.
And honestly, I think as soon as the blade goes in, I mean, people have suffered much worse injuries. Many people are dying. But as soon as he has a switchblade in his arm, he's just like, officer down, and he's out of there. He's retreating. They fall back.
Nice.
Yeah, and then you watch that number tick down. The sun hasn't started rising, but the day is just getting the night is getting a little gray. The rain stops. The number ticks down to half the competitors alive, and a jingle plays over the speaker at that moment. And a voice says,
Lower your weapons. Congratulations, you survived. Phase 2 is complete. You played and you won. Please proceed immediately to your transport craft and depart the island. A celebration feast awaits. Deviating from these instructions will be met with immediate corrective measures.
do you make your way back to your boat, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really hope this celebration involves complete protein. That would be cool.
No one proposed
right now.
Okay. No one wants to break the rules here?
I mean, I think Calvin, assuming you pick him up at some point in this drive-through, I think Calvin says so many people, like, I think trying to lure them into the blinking lights is a mistake, because so many people, I keep hearing people say that they think we're in with production. I don't want to do anything they say. And it's notable that he's like wrapped this like torn kerchief around his wrist to cover up the scar that he had on the back of his hand. Maybe he's got an injury there too. Who knows? He's beat the shit. But who's the leader right now? I think it's Diana.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to spend a trust with Diana to take over leadership for a moment and say we should find out what we got a car. We have the ability to move on this island. We should find out before we go to the boats, we should find out what production has in store for us next, because you know they're not going to tell us. They're just going to lie to us more and more.
All right, where do you think we should go?
Let's look on the map. Do we want to take a break? Sorry, I realize I'm prolonging.
Yeah, I was thinking-
It's exactly
it's a good time
10:30.
for that.
Yeah.
But we could go to the tunnels. Wasn't that one of the secret places that popped up once we got the classified map?
Or the VIP landing area.
Yeah.
Tunnels lead. Yeah, you could head into the tunnels, which lead you to the VIP landing area.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah, I think where I want to get on the boat is the VIP landing area, not the other designated landing area, not the other areas. I think there's going to be a boat there we can get on, but there's also.
I mean, isn't that going to make us look even more like we're working for production?
That is true.
We go
That
to
is
the
quite
VIP
possibly.
landing area.
Yeah, no, I think Calvin, like, if you say that, he's like, yeah, but if everyone already thinks it, who the hell cares what they all think? I want to know the truth.
There.
And they're not going to give it to us unless we take it. Yeah,
I
so
don't
we're
think I
going
get
with
to keep this car on the boat, so let's keep driving it while I get to drive it.
yeah. So yeah, I think we're going to the VIP landing area.
Okay, cool. Should we take a break and then we'll
Yeah.
All right.
Let's
Let's
do
do
that.
this.
see how that
Yeah, let's
goes?
do that.
I think that's the
Breaking the
first time
rules.
I've ever spent a bond to take over leadership. It's the first time I've ever been like, oh no, I have a mechanical ability to do this.
Wow. Achievement unlocked.
Achievement
Yeah.
unlocked. It's a win for me. Yeah.
All right. See y'all in.
All right. Yes, we will be back, and thanks to the amazing talent of Allison Arth, who created the Agon Kickstarter music as well. You can hear the Deathmatch Island extended play elevator
so cool.
tunes as we wait. So we'll be back in 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that. Bye.
Cool.